Maserati's design and engineering teams have worked relentlessly for nearly 2 years. Now, it's time to turn concept into reality inside the Mirafiori factory in Turin, Italy.
We are in the body shop where we put together all the metal and aluminum sheets to have the final body.
Every 8 minutes, the machines move to the next station.
We have 70 robots, so not so huge amount of robots compared to other lands. A robot can do a lot of things. So we can weld, we can glue, we can move parts, we can rivet parts.
The robots do a shocking amount.
On this body, we have 3,570 welding points. 70% are given automatically from our 70 robots.
Welds are reinforced with 120 linear meters of adhesive and 220 self-piercing rivets.
We use them to join together the aluminum sheet.
At the first key station, they build up the bottom of the vehicle.
So, first process is to join together these 3 floors into the underbody, where we also weld all the metal pins that will be used in assembly shop to put together the car with the chassis.
The completed underbody is then sent to the framing station, where they add the inner body sides using a machine that puts the science in science fiction. While robots weld the pieces in place, the automated sled reloads with the exterior body sides. And then the process begins again.
I have a lot of favoritization because I love a body shop. This was my first work in 2006, so I know very well this process. I think that the marriage of the underbody with the sides is the heart.
While the body sides are being welded into place, in another part of the shop, they use a massive multi-panel swivel to manufacture the doors. Every day, they randomly take a nearly finished body off the line and digitally scan it to ensure that the internal quality targets are being met. The tolerances are less than a single millimeter. Now it's time for a human touch on the hanging line, where artisans install the front and rear doors. Walk the fenders to the line and bolt them in place. Install the bonnet and bolt on the rear hatch. Finally, each machine receives a comprehensive review from a craftsperson.
I'm very proud to lead this team and to lead this shop floor because I think that we are creating dreams.
The machine might be a dream, but the affection for it knows no bounds.
I'm very proud of my work. When I go out in restaurant, usually I go with this shirt, and sometimes people ask me about Maserati.
It's easy to see that the satisfaction here echoes from within the soul.
I feel like a father. The body shop team is my family.
Completed bare metal bodies then head directly to the paint shop, where it will take over 8 hours and 3.5 kilometers of conveyors to color the shell.
The ECOT application is a specific chemical physical principles that is based on the electrophoresis. There is an electric field that is applied to the paint, charging some shells positively, while the body is charged negatively.
The negatively charged bodies attract the positively charged anti-corrosion atoms, which creates an inseparable bond and a rust-proof coating.
You have the rotation by 360 degrees. Why? Because only with this rotation, all the chemical products that are inside the tanks goes in each point of the bodies.
The electro dip is the first of many high-tech tools employed inside the paint shop.
To manage its process, we have specific laptops that allow us to see in each moment how the body works and where is the body.
When a body is done being coated, it heads into an oven for a 160 degrees Celsius bake. The cooked and coated machines then enter the sealing line, where humans close every nook and cranny by hand.
We have the application of sealing, and we apply an average for each car 115 meters. In these steps is very important.
The work is challenging, but the payoff is often heartfelt.
Maserati is famous in all the world, and when you see on TV on a specific film, for instance, I can see, oh, I painted.
Sealed bodies then go upstairs to the paint booth, where 41 robots get their color on.
Now we are in the heart of paint shop. Here you can see that we are applying the base coat.
25 of the robots apply the base coat, while the other 16 handle the clear coat.
The cycle time is about 3 minutes.
The stations aren't just fast, they're also extremely precise.
On average, we applied 14 microns for base coat and 60 microns for clear coat.
After the clear coat is applied, the bodies take another trip through an oven before man meets machine on a quality control line, and artisans polish every millimeter by hand. Finished bodies are then ready to become brand new Levantes inside the Mirafiore factory final assembly hall. They switch the machine to a new carrier that can rotate it 90 degrees so craftspeople can access the underbody.
This is a special line because we have the hooks to rotate the body in order to give the people an ergonomic way on this car that is a big car with difficult operations.
Principally, here we work on the undercarriage of the vehicle. The brakes, the front brake cables, and the door frames.
Even though they're only installing brake lines, you can still feel the affection for the mark.
It's a source of pride for me to see a car on the street and think that I was involved in its building, me and my colleagues. And we're only a small part of the process. It is a large group effort.
Next, a craftsperson connects the giant Harman Kardon subwoofer. A station later, the battery is lifted into place. The process really gets going halfway down the first trim line, when they begin to craft the handmade Italian interior.
We used to take the dashboard and manually insert it in the car years ago. Today, with all of the new technologies available, we have this manipulator, which, as you see here, enables us to take the dashboard, connect it to the machine, and insert it directly in the car without the slightest strain on the part of the worker.
Then the center console goes in. Before a quality expert reviews the partially completed car.
When I was a kid, I always had a passion for cars, especially sports cars. And this is the realization of that dream. This is why I'm so happy to work here.
Next, the final assembly line's only robot.
We are standing in front of the machinery for the glass assembly. This specific machinery is for assembly of the rear window and windshield. It's the same robot which you see in operation right now.
The robot moves swiftly and precisely, yet the automation doesn't take away from the fulfillment.
Made in Italy is a guarantee of quality and originality. When we look at this vehicle, it is a combination of elegance and sportiness which characterize the Maserati brand and everything made in Italy. We maintain strong characteristics that are not overly influenced by passing fashions. We bring forward a beautiful and original product.
The robot is programmed to be perfect, but it takes a different kind of training to ensure that the workers are just as flawless.
We're actually at the MTS area. MTS stands for Manufacturing Training System. It's a system we use to train our operators and to keep them continuously updated on the work. The main thing is that quality is an obsession because Maserati is always a Maserati.
Team leaders train employees in one-on-one sessions. It's a very hands-on way to teach and a modern method to pass down artisanal knowledge.
Every time you build a Maserati, you have to focus on two things perfectly every time, the first time.
As the machine continues to be assembled, in another part of the factory, the famed powertrain is born.
We are now in one of the most important parts of our process. So in this area, our people are working on mechanical parts, working on gearbox, on air suspension, and on our big, very big engine.
They join the 3-litre V6 engine with the 8-speed ZF transmission.
In this moment, we are installing our very important motor engine on the drivetrain. In this particular case, our worker is working on a petrol engine, and our petrol engine comes from Ferrari.
Anytime you put the Ferrari name on anything, it's a special thing. I mean, you put the Ferrari name on a pencil, and I'm going to keep it. Say that Ferrari makes this engine for Maserati is all the marketing they need. Boom, Ferrari engine in your car, you want it.
You know immediately that it's a Maserati. You hear the motor, you hear the rumble. Even if I have my back turned, I turn because I know it's a Maserati. That is the beauty of Maserati. And then you see the beauty of the vehicle on the street.
People on the street know the machine, but it might mean even more for the men and women who work here.
My family is proud of the fact that I work for this brand. They are proud of my position. And they too feel pride when they see a Maserati driving around. When they see a Levante, when they're with friends, they say, "My son worked on that." It's a source of pride for families of people who work here.
The moto-romantic pride surfaces on the main drivetrain line, where they swing the motor and transmission subassembly into place. Then add the front air suspension, disc brakes, and radiator, before lifting the entire unit onto a massive moving jig.
Praticamente lo produciamo in sottogruppi, in isole di lavoro.
We build it in steps and various work items. We have two important parts, as you can see. There is the front, where the motor, the chassis, the front suspension are found. And then there is the back, where those components are placed, and the rear suspension.
Completed drivetrains then head directly to the main line.
We are in the most important workstation in assembly. Here we have the marriage between the body and the mechanical parts.
Until Ferrari decides to build their own SUV, the Levante is the only machine of its kind that features an engine built in Maranello.
It's a dream job. Dream job not only for the cars, but also because it's Italian cars.
The Levante is more than just an Italian dream. It's also a Renaissance machine that does nearly everything well. The only question is whether that's enough to bring Maserati out of the shadows.